This person wrote, "We've poured so much money into my in-laws' terrible financial situation. I've recently come to the bitter realization that their problems result from poor decisions and bad behavior on their part, and no amount of money will ever dig them out of that hole. This is a fight my husband and I frequently have. His mom has a good job, but is a chronic overspender and needs our help to pay her bills. No matter how many times we talk about it, he just can't seem to say no. I know things happen, but I can't imagine how humiliated I would be asking my adult children for money at that age. Parents are supposed to be able to cushion their kids if they fall financially, not the other way around. Many of them don't feel shame in asking and think of it as reparations for raising children that they chose to bring into this world."
Ew, I hate that. You brought me into this world, now I have to help you. That's insane. Yeah. Anyway, this screams, y'all need some boundaries. Yeah. ASAP. I personally would never let this happen. Like, I feel like like my husband and I would end up in therapy. We're pretty on the same page on that kind of thing. Now, there's times where I'll help my family in certain situations, but not really because they're asking me for help, more so because I want to be doing that. I do feel bad for people in this situation because you do sort of feel obligated, like it's my parents. However, their parents are not learning anything from this. They're just taking advantage of them at this point. So you need to call it out for what it is, and you really need to set some boundaries, or your marriage is probably not going to last this.
Yeah, I'm much more concerned. Like, I'm less concerned about having to give the in-laws money, and I'm more concerned that they've talked about it and the husband just can't seem to say no. Like, that part that I'm like, oh, that, like, I don't know. Like, to me, it's like, how do you do that? You know, like, you two are supposed to be a team. You two are supposed to be on the same page. Obviously, that's not the case for most relationships, considering how many of them, you know, marriages do end in divorce. But like, in my mind, like, you marry that person, that's your number one now. You know, that's your number one. And then that's where your obligations lie. And then you two have to make decisions for how you kind of interact with whatever might be going on around you. And if that's, hey, we need to help out one of the parents needs to be helped out. It's like, all right, how do we make that decision together? But yeah, it's that to me is the more concerning part, is that you two don't seem to have clear understanding of like, hey, these are the values. These are the ways we're going to interact with our money when it comes to like giving it to other people.
Yeah, and I would say there's probably a lot more people than not that are in these types of situations, like really toxic family situations.
Yeah.
My initial thought here is like, you know, if your parents are okay asking you for, you know, money, then they're going to have to be okay with, you know, and here's the thing, maybe you can start like lightly. Hey, I can offer you this amount of money for this if you're going to sit down with me and look over your finances together. You know, which they're going to push back on because they don't want you to see how terrible of a situation they're in and how poor their spending habits are. But that can almost be like hey, I'll do this for you if you do this for me. And if there's no agreement there, then maybe you don't do that. You know, it reminds me of that situation we talked about, I don't know when, on one of the episodes about, it was like a parents that were wanting like the brother to take care of his brother and like instead of them taking care of him. And it was crazy because it was like, you're the one that gave birth to this kid and you want me to help him now. So, but this just seems, I mean, this is very odd that parents would do this to their kids. I actually hate that. You know, like you said, it's reparations for bringing kids into this world, which is insane, but
it's a crazy concept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I'm going to set some boundaries there first and foremost. And really, I think the husband and the wife need to like work this out together. And then be willing to put some things in place here, because obviously they're never going to change because you keep giving them money and keep giving them money. So set some boundaries there. Okay, we'll help you with this one thing, but we're going to take a look at this and we're going to help you guys set up a budget so we don't have to continue to do this, because we cannot continue to do this. Our finances are, you know, in trouble, even if they're not, whatever. We can't continue to support you, you know?
I love that. And my wife and I have kind of like, and I honestly, I think this happened because of like, we love to like when we're making dinner or watching or washing the dishes, we love to put on like Caleb Hammer episodes, because at this point, those are just so entertaining. Yeah. But I think it was because we had watched the video, we came to this like agreement with each other. Like, all right, if anyone in each other's families like ever need money, you know, obviously we can talk about how that will look, how much to give or whether we give or not, whatever it is. Yeah. But it would always come with the understanding like, hey, it's not just the money. If we're going to give you this money and expect nothing in return, you have to let us help you with
Yeah.
the finances a little bit, you know, because I don't want to like just pour money into into a hole in the ground and never see it go anywhere. If I'm going to help you financially, I also want to be able to help you like understand how to manage the finances. And I'm definitely like the nerdier one when it comes to finances, but like, dude, my wife is she's so involved in the money. She could tell you how to make a budget. She could tell you how we run all our finances to where it could be helpful for someone who has no clue where they're starting with their money, you know? So like to that level, like I think, you know, in my mind, like if I'm going to give someone money, it's going to come with the understanding, like it's money. And also I want to help you get out of this and you know, the part that's really going to help you is understanding how to move forward with this, with your finances.
Yeah. And also no is a complete sentence. So you can just say no as well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure these people are very toxic. They're going to manipulate you. They're going to guilt trip you. You know, maybe won't speak to you for a little bit. Hey, maybe that'll be a nice thing. But yeah, you can do that as well. But you got to set some boundaries soon, or you're going to continue to give your parents money. And obviously they have terrible spending habits and they can't figure out their own stuff. So. The information, opinions, and recommendations provided on this podcast are for entertainment purposes only and do not constitute professional financial advice. Any financial decisions you make based on the content of this podcast are your responsibility. We strongly recommend consulting with a licensed financial advisor or other qualified professional before making any significant financial decisions. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge that we are not liable for any financial outcomes.